Happy Tuesday, my friends. Welcome to another wonderful, fun edition of Lean Coaching for Lean Coaches. And I've got a special edition for you today. Once again, we did some little schedule adjustments with our guest due to schedule needs from them. So, my guests and I recorded our session just yesterday, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. And you're going to want to stay tuned because there's a few extra minutes today as I go through and support our guests. So, just wanted to give you that heads up. And once again, thank you so much for being here. Please drop your comments as you're watching along with my guest and I in this conversation today. What resonates with you? What would you do different? What questions would you ask? And what sorts of things hit home for you in the conversation that I have with today's guest? So, without further ado, we're going to hop right into it. And once again, thanks for being here, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on Thursday. Without further ado, here's today's Lean Coaching for Lean Coaches. All right, y'all. I appreciate your comments here, recognizing we have some technical difficulties. So let me get the sound going here. My apologies. We have to share the sound too, don't we? That would probably be a good thing. So let me get that. All squared away here. And again, my apologies for that. Should always be doing the tech checks before and making sure those things happen. So let's go ahead and take a quick look here. So um, if we need to, give me just a moment here. So thanks for your patience. Um, Making sure we can share the sound because I know when you're streaming that. Once again, my apologies, y'all. Give me just a moment here and I will look up how to resolve this. If anyone knows how to share audio from a file on Restream, you can let me know. I apologies. Crowdsource the tech support here. Let's see. Aha. Well, let's just do. I get it now. Here we go. Now I know what the issue is. So let's close that. Let's open this. I think I got it. I think we figured it out, folks. So let's go. Let's share this. On another lean coaching for lean coaches. And as always, I am so excited to be here with someone that I've just met recently, but I'm super excited for you to meet and to once again bring into the, I don't even like the word the coaching hot seat, but that's what we'll call it, for lack of a better word. And it is Jonathan Gossett. Thank you so much for being here today.
For sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, y'all. Well, hey, if you haven't all right, let me know how that audio works. I think that should be okay. Thank you so much for your patience with me. I know I apparently haven't had my coffee this morning, so now we are set to go. Let me know if that sounds good, but you're going to really enjoy this conversation with Jonathan. He's just great people. So definitely enjoy Jonathan and myself as we work through getting him some clarity, and in the end, you'll be really excited to hear the action that he's going to be taking. So you're going to want to stay tuned to the end there. Connected with Jonathan. Why the heck not? He has got some great energy. His authenticity and his positivity is something that when I started having conversations with him really, got me interested in continuing the conversation, and he graciously agreed to come in here today. So, Jonathan, for those that aren't connected to you, what are you up to today? Tell us a little bit about what's brought you here.
Sure. So I met you because I've been on kind of a journey to make a career change. I've done a lot of different things. I was actually in ministry in the past as a pastor, but the last couple of years I've been doing HVAC. Started as just kind of an apprentice, moved my way up. I'm an HVAC install lead now. But I just I don't see it as a long-term career path that I want to follow. I've got some friends in tech that have really pushed me to try to make a shift that way. So I'm also here, and I'm excited about this opportunity here to talk to you because I do have a lot of indecision as far as what that journey is going to look like. I've pursued a couple different paths, and working through some of those things. But yeah, that's kind of the journey I'm on. Just looking to kind of slowly break into a totally different industry and just try to get the skills, use some skills from my past to make that happen.
Well, I think a lot of folks can relate to you. And one thing that I really like, even just right now, I just love your energy. I love the positivity. I can feel all of that there, and the openness too, which is just a beautiful thing. And I think it's interesting. I didn't know you would come from that ministry background, but there's definitely a lot of interesting parallels there around, HVAC and faith
Yeah,
and lots of different things. I'm sure you
yeah,
probably had
yeah.
a fair share of analogies that you have used or come up with in your time. Um,
Yep.
but like what's on your mind today? What's the thing that's like at the top of your like the mind that's just kind of buzzing around or keeping you up at night, frustrating you?
I would say just trying to, and I don't want to be too vague, but trying to figure out like where am I really going? I have this general idea that, I want to give my family a better life, right? Because like HVAC is a good job. Like don't get me wrong. I mean, a lot of people would love to be in the position I'm in. But I just I look at I think I explained this to you in text a little bit maybe, but I look at guys above me that have been in this industry for 30 years
Hmm.
and they've just torn their bodies up. They just have sacrificed so much of themselves to really, I've talked to a couple of them, to barely make more money than I do, to barely have much of a better outlook on life, and I'm like, I don't want to spend 20 years, crawling around in attics and tearing my knees up because you're always on your knees in basements and attics and stuff like that, just to get to a place where it's like I'd barely make more money than the guys below me. And it's not all about money, but at the same time, it's all about like how we can help our families, right? How we can do better for our families. And so kind of at the top of my mind is like clarifying that path forward, because I think it's in, like I said, I've got some friends in tech that are like, hey, this is a great place to be. There's great jobs here. Um, but I mean, all I see in the news lately is all the layoffs in tech and things like that. So, you know, trying to figure out where I'm going from here, I guess. Yeah.
So what you're telling me is you're not feeling positive about that.
Yeah, I mean, the great thing is I do see a lot of people in tech that say, "Hey, I got laid off, but I also have like a pretty good severance package," which I'll tell you that doesn't happen in my world. That's another reason
Mm,
to get into. I guess I see it as more of like a white collar world because there's just benefits that don't exist in the world that I live in. Like if you get laid off, sorry, like you don't get anything extra. That's just you're laid off,
mm.
for 90% of people that I work around and with. Maybe union guys, have some of those benefits. I don't even know.
Do you have any connection, I'm wondering, to continuous improvement, lean, that kind of thinking at all?
So, not necessarily. I started kind of following lean and agile principles. I actually got my Scrum Master certification. That was like my first step towards maybe breaking into tech. My friend said, "Hey, like maybe you'd be a good project manager, Scrum Master.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here's something you could get." But I learned pretty quickly that like nobody cares that you have your Scrum Master certification. Like everybody's like, "Hey, great, you took 2 days of a course and a 30-minute quiz. Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like you don't know what you're doing yet." So I haven't even got an interview in project management at all. But yeah, that's kind of talking about lean, agile, those kind of things. Like, what was your question again?
Yeah, no, that was it. That was it. Yeah,
Okay,
just was curious, like, what your connection to it was.
sure.
Just because, like, we have conversations with a lot of, continuous improvement folks. And so was just trying to see what the connection was there. And I think that's where we started our kind of our, like, how we
Right, right.
connected a little bit was around that.
Yep, yep.
And also, you, like, had just talked about just a couple minutes ago, you know, you, I can tell you definitely have obviously some purpose and some meaning and some values to who you are.
Oh yeah.
And I'm also like wondering, like you you talked about like clarity and that. Do you have some picture in your mind where you'd like to be? Like if you were to, I don't know, imagine like an ideal scenario, what kind of picture are you painting in your mind in, say, a year or two? Draw that out for me. What would that look like?
Well, I question myself as to whether or not, the picture that I have in my head is the right one. Like I'm an analyzer. I'm a huge overthinker. So it's like, I have this idea. I always said that in 2024, which I'm behind the ball now because I still haven't got my tech job, but I back when I was last year, I you know and I'm a super open person, so I'm just gonna share what I'm comfortable sharing. But last year, I made like 65
Yeah,
in HVAC, and
sure,
I said, look, in 2024, I want to make over 100. Like
sure.
that's my goal. I said
Hey,
in 5 years, I'd like to be making 150 a year. Uh,
sure.
and along with that comes we rent right now. I want to own a home, so that I have a place where my kids can play in the backyard and it's ours. We're getting some value built into something. Um, I'd like to potentially work from home, and be able to spend more time with the family. If not work from home, a little bit more hybrid. Just anything that promotes a better quality of life, and like I said, more connection with my family. That's kind of there on the list, and just be able to spend more time with them. I mean, I there's a lot of hard work that goes into the type of field that I'm in. I haven't put in the hours that I did at one point, but my first year, I there was a 2 week period where I worked 70 hours 2 weeks in a row, and the rest of the year I probably worked 50 to 60 hours, just trying to make extra. And like I said, it doesn't really even add up to that much sometimes. It feels like, at least. So uh, again, I don't know if like the work from home scenario is accurate. I don't know if I'll love that or not, but it's kind of in the back of my head,
Mm,
like, hey, that'd be a good option for spending more time with the family and things like that. But yeah, I mean, like to be able to travel more, and again, like maybe my dreams are really um, cliche, and like just the life everybody wants to have a better quality of life. But yeah, I mean that's what I'd love to do. So
well, having I think it's really important when we're like trying to move forward, we're at a place where we feel stuck or undecided to get a clear picture of where we want to go. And understanding some of those pieces is really important, and understanding the why behind those. Um, I think is important. Why are those, like that picture that you drew out? Why is that important to you? Like those things that you mentioned.
um, I think it goes back to family, but also um, I don't want to call it a selfish. I don't think it's a selfish element. I just have this like I've always had this desire to really be able to experience like what life has to offer. And people
Mm,
have in my past have told me, man, you just really love life. Like you want to get out there.
mm,
And I'm the guy that wants to like do it all. I want to go skydiving. I want to go snowboarding. I want to, go see the sights and stuff and just experience like the history and all of that. And I've just got like that desire to really experience life in that way, and then also to experience life with my family that way. I mean, like me and my family, we think about like the trips and the vacations and things we've taken as some of like the best memories of our lives, being able to
yep.
connect around those experiences, right? And I don't think that's selfish necessarily. I think that's just like, hey, we just want to experience life together and make those like super incredible memories. And so I don't know if that really like gets deep enough as far as answering that why, but just like being able to live life,
Mm.
and not feel like I'm just living work, you know?
Oh my,
So,
well, you just said it there. I think so many people can relate to that, right? Like living life and not living work, right? Like
right.
we aren't we're not human doings, we're human beings, right? We're here
Right,
to
yeah,
be and experience life, not
yeah.
just to produce something. What do you think inside you, if you look back maybe to when you were younger, what do you think has brought you to this place of where that is so important to you? Like if you look back to maybe experiences when you were a kid or younger, what drives this? What kind of experience?
That is a tough question. I don't know that I can point to a specific thing or set of things as much as just say like I said that I've always been that person that really I was very fun loving and very like, let's just get out there and let's do all these things because uh, the world has so much to offer, right?
Yeah.
And as a person of faith, I would say that like God made the world with so much to offer, so many good gifts that He's given us, and um, you know, I have hope in my faith that
Yeah.
one day maybe He'll allow us to experience those things in another in a future like eternity kind of scenario, right? But
Yeah.
I don't want to miss it now either. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to die and feel like I I missed out. And sometimes that gets the better of me. Sometimes that becomes a failure. Like
Mm,
that fear of missing out. Like I chase things too hard.
mm,
I chase those experiences too hard. Um, and sorry if I'm taking too much time here, but I experienced that. Like, I got to take a trip out to Oregon last year. My friend actually paid for me to come out and visit him, one of my best friends from college, and um, we got to go out and do all those things that I'm like all about, right? We went out in the Jeep and we went chasing waterfalls and went to the beach and paddleboarding on the beach and all that like stuff that outdoor stuff that I love, the experiences that I love. And I called my wife in the middle of doing all that. I was like, you know what? I'm living my best life out here, and all I can think about is you guys and being back home with you
mm,
guys. I was like, like I chase these things so hard when really at the core of it, sometimes like I've got what I want right there at home.
mm.
So, like I said, it can be like a failure as well to chase that life that I think I want and miss out what's in front of me. Anyways, I got sidetracked from your
Oh no,
original
that's no, you
question.
don't need to apologize at all. That's like a part of, doing this, having a conversation, right? And
Yeah,
exploring these things. I was just listening to a podcast, I think it was yesterday or today, with Simon Sinek and James Clear. If you're familiar with those folks, Simon Sinek's written Start with Why, about purpose, and then James Clear wrote the book Atomic Habits.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but Sinek was asking him, okay, tell me about an experience that really that fulfilled you. And I was going to ask you that question, but you just gave it, right? Like you just shared it. Like it's crazy. You just shared something that was so like fulfilling and life-giving to you, right? That
Hmm.
whole experience, dude, like that is like that's so beautiful. And that
Yeah.
tells a lot about you and what fulfills you. So I think
Hmm.
thinking about that and reflecting on those things is so like so important to really, as you're thinking about where you want to go, or like
Sure.
understanding those experiences that fill you up can really help inform where you want to go.
Right. Right.
So, I'm thinking as you're, and I'm wondering, as you're thinking, about this next season for you, you know, what other things, what other pictures do you have of the future, all right, for yourself? I know you said, HVAC isn't the jam, right, where you want to
Right.
be.
Right.
What other things, do you get lost in or fill you up, where you walk away and you lose track of time? And
Sure. I kind of experienced something I didn't realize um, did that for me recently. I'm just pursuing all these different avenues on LinkedIn, right? And I saw a role pop up, just a connection that posted they were looking for hiring BDR, business development representative,
Hmm.
sales role, and I sent him over a video. I was like, hey, I don't really have experience doing this. Here's what I do have experience with, building relationships. And I was like, let me try to sell this. Like as a pastor, my goal was to like build relationships in order to guide people, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of like you're prospecting into accounts and trying to build relationships to uh to kind of guide people towards a goal that you're trying to reach, right? And I said, hey, if you give me a shot, I'd love to do that. He said, well, hey, we'll let you get in the first round of interviews here. And there was an assessment that was like, hey, you gotta get a meeting scheduled with one of our guys here, and at their company. And like, so we just want to see like your prospecting outreach abilities, right? If you get that meeting scheduled, then you'll move on to the next phase. And I really, like you said, I really got lost in that because I'm very competitive. I'm very like, when I have a goal, something I'm chasing. And so I really enjoyed like, strategizing to like, hey, connect with them on LinkedIn and craft a message that kind of connects to them and then like send an email, right? And figure out how to like maybe even make a cold call and just get that meeting scheduled. And I enjoyed the challenge of that. Which by the way, I did get. I got both. He gave me two people to try to get meetings with. Both of them scheduled a meeting with me, but then they still said we're going to move on with other candidates. So that was deflating. But I get it. I was probably the least qualified candidate in the mix, but I enjoyed that, and so that's kind of opened up my eyes to hey, maybe I should consider that as well. Like I've focused all my efforts on project management, Scrum Master, because I think that my pastoral experience translates well to that.
Yep.
And so that's been my like, hey, I can sell my past experience to help me towards this role. Um, but yeah, I think just like working with people and helping people, and a lot of the things I did as a pastor, like like connecting with those people and really having like a mission to to help them, to guide them. Like that really fulfilled me. And I do get lost in those things. And I enjoy teaching, the teaching aspect of it as well. I'm not a great writer and I agonized over like writing like sermons, right? And I think I was terrible at it. As far as the writing aspect of it, I think some of the sermons came out okay, and people always said, "Hey, you're a pretty good public speaker." But I agonized over the writing process for sure.
Sure.
But yeah, I enjoy those aspects of things, and like I said, the challenge, the competitiveness of trying to do outreach for sales. I don't think I'm a good salesperson because to me it always feels a little scummy. I think I mentioned that to you.
Sure.
Um, but in the right context of realizing like, hey, I'm just trying to help people by
Yep.
like providing them this service or this product. I think I could do it, if I'm convinced that I'm helping. So,
If you're with all that's great insight to know like more about what drives you, what you've discovered, what you lose yourself in. I think those
yeah,
again can be great signals of like areas or opportunities for us.
sure.
For you right now, like where you're headed to, what do you feel like is your biggest like obstacle or challenge for you to be able to move forward with where you want to get to? What are you struggling with the most?
I think it's just a lack of experience and um, training education maybe because like I said, I thought, hey, I'll get my Scrum Master certification and boom, I'll go get a job, but there's really a skill gap, an experience gap there that I'm gonna have to like somehow I'm gonna have to make that hurdle. And I see other people on LinkedIn that are looking for jobs and I'm like, man, it is a tough market out there. Like
Mm,
I don't have half of the experience that a lot of these people that are struggling to find a job do.
mm,
So that's my biggest challenge. Like if I'm gonna look towards project management and make that like my goal, then
mm.
I've got to get some more education and experience under my belt. The education aspect costs money, and I haven't had a lot extra of that, this last year. So I haven't like pushed too hard for the education side of it. The experience, like that's an even tougher one, really, because how do you get experience doing something that nobody wants to give you a shot to do?
So I guess working backwards from that, and if it's okay, can I challenge something you just said there?
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So how do you know that those are obstacles or challenges to get to where you want to get to?
I would say only based on the fact that, I probably put in 50 applications and didn't hear a word from anybody. And I know that's not a lot, like in this job market, right? And in tech especially, a lot of people are trying to get in. A lot of people are trying to find jobs, but uh, that made me think, hey, I've got to get some better qualifications on my resume, some better experience on my resume, or nobody's even gonna consider me. you know, that
Mm,
was that was kind of what drove that thought process, I guess, to answer your question.
mm. So you said experience and
Education,
education, yeah. What what sorts of things have you tried to like be able to, you know, process through these or get through these challenges so far?
um, I've done, like, as far as education goes, I've worked on the things that I could. Um, I was working through a course that was free. I was brushing up on Excel skills because Excel is pretty big. You need to know how to you need to know how to do your Excel spreadsheets, things like that. Experience. I mean, I really haven't done. I didn't know what to do really. I've had people say, hey, there's like these groups you can get in, and you can try to people say, oh, you can try to make your life this agile Scrum principles and live your life that
Oh,
way,
right.
organize your life.
Yeah.
But dude, I've got 3 kids. My life is chaos. Like it's really hard to get in some, like if I'm a single guy, like I would be chasing all this stuff
Yep.
on my after I get done with the HVAC. I'd be doing this every evening.
Yep.
But I got a family. I've got responsibilities. Like it's hard to do some of that stuff. Um, Maybe that's an excuse. I'm sure I could find time, but it's tough. It really is tough. Even just to hop on a call like this, sometimes it's tough.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, when you
Thankfully, I've
have
got my kids quiet right now, but I thought they might
eh,
be screaming in the background on this call. So
eh, well,
Oh,
I know. Luckily, my kids are a little bit older, but they still have their moments. We still hear some screaming
yeah,
every
yeah,
now and then.
yeah,
Just because you're 15 and 13 don't mean you're not going to get in a little thing now and again.
yeah.
Um, what, like, I think it's as we kind of wrap up here,
Sure.
want to make sure you have something you can take away so you can try something. And what I always use as kind of a cue for folks that I work with, and if I'm taking my own advice, is when I get to that point of, man, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know this, right? That's
Mhm.
our cue for how can I go figure that out? What's one thing I can try, right?
Yeah,
To go figure that out. Even if it's something small that'll take 5 minutes or 15 minutes, it's something that's going to move you forward um, towards where you want to get to. So my wonder is, what is your I don't know right now, and then let's get maybe something you can try. So if you were to say one thing right now that you don't know that you'd like to figure out or you think's preventing you from moving forward, what would that be?
mm, I mean, it might be kind of broad, but I would say like building that skill set for actually doing the job that I'd like to do. Again, some lack of clarity. Like maybe there's a couple ways I could go, but if I'm going Scrum Master, project management, like I if you put me on a job doing that today, I would have no idea what I'm doing because I don't know what their day to day really looks like, or the skill set needed there. So my I don't know is, you know, what skills do I need, programs do I need to understand, um, uh, methodologies, I guess. There's a lot of planning methods, right, that are used in project management and things like that that would be in a day-to-day scenario. So those things, and maybe there's some courses out there, something I don't know.
Yeah, no, this is great, right? Where you've identified, I don't know what this role looks like or what a day to day is. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing to, like I said, I took the Scrum Master certification. I understand like the principles and theory of Scrum and how to apply that in
Right.
somewhat of a like just an agile framework, I guess. But it's not day to day. It's like this is, these are the this is the theory, and this is because it's a loose framework, right? It's like the Scrum Master removes obstacles and helps the team and then the product owner and things like that. But it's all pretty vague. It's not day to day stuff.
So what's one thing you could do today in, one small step you could do to go ahead and figure to get that clarity on what you just said?
You know, I I'm sure there's some stuff out there I could find, like a course online, something like that. But I've been pursuing more trying to make connections and learn from people.
Mm,
That's why, that's why I have sent out a lot of connection requests and just talk to whoever I can. Be like, hey, if you let me pick your brain for 20 minutes or so, I'd love to just learn from you. And uh, you know, that's maybe part of the answer to that. Yeah.
any specific type of person or connection or something that would you think would be helpful around this specific area? And the reason I'm asking is I think we can send connections, and I don't discourage that. I just my wonder is what specifically would you do with that, you know, to help you
Right.
with this specific thing that you're surfacing?
I mean, what I wish I could do is in a perfect world, I would be like, hey, you're a scrum master. Let me shadow you for the day. Let me see what you do. Let me, see what skills are really required throughout your day to day. But that's, you can't just go to work with somebody, right? At least most of the time you can't. And so again, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there is a project management course that I was working through, that I didn't finish because I just had to put it on hold. That does walk you through some of those like daily scenarios, things that you would have to do. But yeah,
What would keep you from asking someone um, about doing that shadowing that you
just
just
just thinking that they might be against it or that it might be a difficult ask, because workplaces are like, hey, only employees are allowed here if it's a in office type job, or if it's a remote job, then how do you shadow somebody remotely, I guess. Well, actually, we got lots of tools. I'm sure there's a way to do that. But
So what's one thing like so like even just moving like um what's one thing you could do, right? And I never like to be prescriptive, but I'm wondering, is there maybe a set of people that you could reach out to? Um,
yeah, I mean, I know somebody I could reach out to that does the job that I'd like to do. um, I could I could reach out to them and see if they have advice, or if they would, if that would ever be possible to do some kind of shadow type thing. I could reach out to them. Yeah.
Because if your kids were you, and you were here, and they
Mhm.
were like, you were like, and they were saying, well, I don't know, Dad, like, you would say, you would probably say,
Just put yourself out there, right? Just do it. Hey, just try. Yeah. So,
so um as we're wrapping up here, and I think we're a little over time, so thanks to
my bad.
everybody
I talk
for
too much. Yeah.
oh, no, not at all, no reason to apologize. This is where we go. So what is it that you're going to do? So folks that you're going to connect with Jonathan, and they're going to want to support you in this journey. Obviously, they're seeing your authenticity, your honesty, you're putting yourself out there. What is it that you're going to be doing with this next step?
Uh, I'm gonna connect with people I know. Um, I have a specific person in mind that I can talk to, that I know pretty well, um, and see if something like that would be possible.
And when will you be reaching out to them by?
Uh, Next 2 or 3 days, probably. I mean, nothing keeping me from doing that.
So what day should you, just to be like specific by this? And of course, it's nobody's going to be coming back and like
Right,
checking,
right.
and nothing like that, but just for your own sake, setting a timeline so that you can go, okay, by this day. So
Well,
what's that
let's
day?
say tomorrow then. I mean,
Okay.
like I said, there's no obstacle keeping me from sending a message. So,
I love that. And I think people are going to love you just for setting that up. And real quickly, what do you expect from that?
uh, I expect a response, and like, if that's not possible, if shadowing's not possible, like, hey, maybe here's something else that would help you. That's probably my expectation.
How does that feel?
Good, good. Yeah.
So from our conversation today, what was the most valuable thing that you got out of this?
Um, Take some specific actions. Yeah. I live in vague too much. Like, hey, I could do this, I could do that. I'm an analyzer, like I said, and indecision, a lot of indecision sometimes. So yes, the push for specific action, I need to do that to myself sometimes, like, hey, one day I'll reach out to this person. No, no, what day are you gonna do it?
And I love the word you use there, and that's something, especially in the practice that I use in the using the Toyota Kata, like, what's how quickly can we go and see what you've learned? So we're always driving towards action,
Mhm.
not for performance, but just so we can try something and learn. And what obstacles are in the way? And you use that language right there. There's no obstacle that's preventing me. So hey, I'm going to go try this. You set an expectation. So man, for those of you that aren't already connected, please connect with Jonathan.
Absolutely.
And if you've got any, encouragement or support, you want to, we're going to be cheering for you, because we can just see
Thank
your
you.
heart
Thank you.
for where you want to take this. So thanks so much for coming on to Lean Coaching for Lean Coaches. And of course, we'll be back here on Thursday with some more goodness. We're going to be talking about how to have a connection strategy to connect with people in a meaningful way, so that you can move from connections to conversations to clients and calls. So looking forward to having you all here on Thursday. And once again, thanks to you, Jonathan, for being here. Much love
Thank
to you,
you.
my friend. And of course, if you need help and support like Jonathan got today, you know where to find me. Shoot me a DM. Take good care, everybody.